is on yes, thank you, Dr. Lillian, for starting the recording. Today's topic is on managing behavior change, and it is going to be facilitated by Mr. David Ouma Balikoa, as you can see. Today's youth face a variety of social and economic challenges ranging from poverty, isolation, stress, and information overload from social media. We have a lot of peer pressure, we have unemployment, and all of these lead to a lot of issues among the youth. So with us today, we have an expert in this area. We are privileged to be joined by Mr. Balikoa, who is a media, social and behavior change communication specialist with over 30 years of experience in print and broadcast media, developing, implementing, and evaluating SBC strategies and campaigns, and best practice documentation. He is a co-founding editor of the Monitor newspaper and has taught at Makerere University for over 15 years and has trained several of the best journalists in Uganda, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe. So he holds an MPH from the University of Western Cape and a Master of Arts in Telecommunication and Development Communication from Michigan State University, and then LLM in Public International Law from the University of Nottingham, and a Bachelor of Arts in Literature and Philosophy from Makerere University. So we are truly blessed today to be with Mr. Balikoa. And I think from the very heavy CV I've just read, you can see that we have a depth of knowledge and a lot of things to learn from him today. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite a member of the board, Dr. Lillian Kiapi, to give us a few opening remarks, and then she invites Mr. Balikoa to speak to us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. We are really pleased and privileged to have David Ouma Balikoa join us today for this webinar. I think managing behavior change is something that all of us have to do in our lives, as well as in our personal and professional lives, but also in terms of how to manage things around ourselves. So this is a really important topic when we're thinking about youth leadership development, but also personal development, and also how we manage in terms of our work and career paths as we move forward. So I'm sure we're going to learn a lot, and have time to ask questions at the end as well. So very welcome, Mr. Balikoa, and looking forward to listening to you and learning from you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth and Dr. Lillian. Good morning to you all. I'm delighted to be here this morning with you as we discuss this very important topic of managing behavior change, especially among the younger people. As introduced already, my name is David Ouma Balikoa once again, and let's hope we will have a good deliberation this morning. So can I have the first slide? Second slide. Okay, so we'll begin by trying to understand what social and behavioral change is. Whereas our focus today is on behavior change, but also we need to understand it in a wider context of what? Of society. So basically social and behavior change aim to empower individuals and communities and lower structural barriers that hinder people from adopting positive practices and societies from becoming more equitable, inclusive, and cohesive and peaceful. So the focus here is on the individuals, the societies, and the structural barriers. But today, we'll try to see how we can empower the individual youth to be able to adapt positive behaviors in their work, in their lives. Okay, I think we can go to the next one. Roll it up a bit. Okay. Now, what really drives behaviors in our lives? So the decisions and actions we take in life are influenced by several factors, often, and if not careful, leading us away from the desired outcomes. One of the key drivers relates to psychological factors, and these include cognitive and emotional drivers, or the mental models that determine what we perceive and what we perceive to be desirable or even possible. We also have the sociological drivers, and these include the faith, the community, the groups around us, and the society, which are responsible for the norms that inform or fuel discrimination and drive communities to comply with harmful practices, unfortunately, in many instances. And lastly, the other driver are the environmental or the structural factors, and these include the policies that our government districts make for us and the laws, or the lack of this. And they are responsible for the imbalances in our societies, things like poverty, insecurity, lack of access to services like health, education, and so forth like that, that control or limit our choices as individuals or collectively as what? As communities. Basically, those are the major three drivers in the choices that we make in life. Next one. Can you please push it? Okay. Now, what can we do, therefore, as individuals to change our behavior or to change our behavior? What can we do as individuals to change our behaviors positively? Now, social and behavior change can help to mobilize local action, expand people's control over their choices that they need to improve in their lives. Today, we will focus on the decisions and actions younger people can take as individuals to achieve their what? Their full potential in life. But to be able to do that, we need to kind of recap on the challenges that younger people face in life. Now, as you know, younger people, one of the biggest challenges that they face, especially as they transition from teenagerhood to, they transition from childhood to teenagerhood and adolescence and adulthood. The challenges are really very many. For example, we know very well that the people who are aged between 14 and 17, they already start to exhibit secondary and advanced sexual characteristics, with about 90% attaining mature stature. Also, the 14 to 15-year-olds are preoccupied most of the time with the rapid psychological growth, body change, and disruptive change. And they always try to seek group affiliation to counter this instability in their lives. Now, regarding sexuality, this age group start to engage in self-exploration and evaluation, trying to understand the changes in their bodies. On the other hand, those who are aged between 16 and 17 tend to be preoccupied with the fantasy, realism, and a sense of self-powerfulness, and reaffirming self-image. They also preoccupy themselves with romantic fantasy and testing their ability to attract the opposite sex. Actually, in most cases, people in this age, you see them trying to change their hairstyle, the way they walk, the way they laugh, and things like that. But these are body changes that happen, and sometimes they cannot be blamed for them. However, what we want is to see how we can assist them to be able to manage those changes as they transit through this very challenging age. Why? We also see that the people who are aged between 20 and 24, they tend again now to move away from a peer group in favor of personal friendship and stable relationships, especially with the what? Especially with the what? Especially with the opposite sex. Next. Kenneth, next. So apart from the challenges that young people face in terms of growth, broadly there are also other challenges that they face, and these could include physical and emotional well-being. How do they make choices that will ensure that they are healthy and also emotionally stable? The other challenges also include education. How can they make sure that they keep enrolled in school and also complete school, either primary school, secondary school, institutional education, or the university? This is another big challenge, as we know very well that at the time to move from primary school to university level, nearly 80% of them would have dropped out of what? Out of school. So that's also another big challenge. And again, the other thing is the protection, because they are young, they're exploring, they're trying out everything new in life, and sometimes they tend to be exposed to violence, both physical and emotional, either in the homes that they stay, the communities that they live in, or the schools that they attend. They tend to be exposed to a lot of dangers and harmful practices, and they need a lot of guidance able to make choices that will help them to navigate through these challenges of safety. Again, also, as I've mentioned, these are people who are growing, and some of them will drop out of school, some of them will stay in school, but broadly, all of them will have livelihood challenges. For example, you know very well that it's not very easy to access jobs, and even it becomes worse for those who drop out of school before they complete. And those who are at school are preoccupied with worries of how they are going to transition from school to work, and also some of them who can't find jobs, or those who dropped out of school, are trying to see if they can start and maintain self-initiated small business to maintain their livelihoods. All these things, plus the challenges of managing relationships in their lives, kind of create some kind of stress in their lives, and if they are not guided in their choices, they will always end up, making a lot of mistakes and ruining their lives. So these are very, very critical challenges in their lives, and we need to think about them and see how we can help the youth to make sure that they fulfill their full potential. Next. Now, in trying to deal with these challenges and make choices on how to navigate through them. There are certain things in society, within the homes, within the community, within the settings, school settings, that there are certain barriers that that affect the choices that they make. Okay. For example, you will find that a number of these of the youth, for example, would not perceive health, safety, education, all challenges that we mentioned as severe. They don't really see that, there is anything to worry about all those challenges. For example, get through that
Hello, hi, you're breaking up. Can you hear us?
I can.
I think you are having network issue. We can't hear you.
Oh, he has left. I think he needs to join again just to reset the connection.
Okay.
Our speaker is going to be joining us shortly, so I request you all to just stay online. He will be back in shortly. I think he's having some technical difficulties. In the meantime, I think we can all see how valuable this conversation is, and just keep sharing the link with your friends and encourage them all to join, so that we can have as many people as possible benefiting from this.
Thanks, Kenneth. And also let's put our questions in the chat so that when he rejoins and finishes with our presentation, we can go through the questions people have. Meanwhile, how is everyone? It's very quiet.
I think the people in Moyo can tell us how it is over there. Patrick, I think I saw Sharon on as well.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Yes,
Good
hello,
morning.
Patrick. How are you? We can hear you. Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Patrick.
Yeah, I lost you.
It is raining. It started raining very early today.
Sorry.
And up to now, it is drizzling.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Hello?
can. We were just having a conversation with Patrick, but
Okay.
I think we can continue now. We can hear you. Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about some of the barriers to behavior change. And the first thing we mentioned is that most of the younger people do not perceive that the challenges that we mentioned as a real threat in their lives. For example, the people, the teenagers would be most of the time preoccupied with their body changes and managing them and getting attention and whatever like that, and they do not pay attention to some of those health and education challenges. But also, in most of the cases, do not have the knowledge on some of the those challenges and the opportunities which are out there, as well as the benefits of making sure that they stay, for example, at school, or they avoid some of those healthy challenges. So a problem of what? Of either lack of access or inadequate knowledge on how to deal with some of those or to understand and be able to respond to some of those challenges. Again, there is also the negative attitudes and norms and the belief societies, the myths that tend to influence their choices relating to health, education, and how they relate, for example, with the opposite sex among other challenges. The other challenge they have, again, or the barrier to making good choices, are the risky lifestyles. The risky lifestyles, for example, many of them get exposed to alcohol and harmful substances, and they fail to manage it and tend to abuse it. Then they also have bad company, end up moving at night, seeking entertainment. We know people who escape from school or who escape from home at night to be in bad company and end up in all these lifestyles that will in one way or the other affect the choices that they make in life. The other challenge, again, or the other barrier, is that even when some young people have the knowledge and understand these things, some of them, because of the family settings or because of the community settings, they lack self-efficacy. They believe that they can be able really to make good choices. They really think they tend to be very hopeless, and they say, well, it doesn't matter. Maybe, even if I did this, doesn't matter at all. So, and sometimes it's because of the abject poverty or the community that they live in. So they don't have the belief that they can do it, and they're not motivated enough to be able to make the right choices in their lives. Second, next one. So, what are some of the strategies that we can use to manage behavior change? As we mentioned earlier, one of the key barriers is that most of the younger people do not have adequate knowledge on these challenges, the nature of these challenges, the barriers that we mentioned, the things that they can do to be able to manage those challenges. The key strategy, therefore, here is to make younger people knowledgeable about the challenges to achieving their full potential, the barriers and benefits of the benefits of the changes that we want to make in their lives. And therefore, as youth, young people, you need to be able to seek information from different sources. One of the key sources, of course, is the media. This could be radio, this could be TV, newspapers, it could be print. Some of the things that you see at school. It could also be the parents. The parents are also good reference points, and younger people would be encouraged to try as much as possible to seek information and guidance from their parents. Of course, there could also be challenges because sometimes there are certain things that the parents are not willing to discuss, for example, regarding sex. So that could also be kind of a big challenge. We also have the peers in society. Around you as the youth, there will be people who are already practicing these desired changes. So there could also be a source of information on how to guide you. But even in the community also, we have a number of influencers. There could be health providers, there could be community providers. In the schools we have, for example, the health clubs. All these people within the community can be a very good source of information on how to manage the challenges that we have we have mentioned. For example, in health, younger people need to learn information on how to manage, for example, their body changes and information on reproductive health, how to manage mental challenges, how to avoid injuries. All these sources of information can help us to make good choices. For example, we need to understand, for example, what are the benefits of staying on in school and completing school, because in some of the societies that we live in, some community or some people will be telling us, no, you can be rich without completing school. So there will be all these beliefs and attitudes that are influencing you as you seek to complete as you keep to complete education. So it's very important that, for example, you speak to people who have completed education as role models in your lives, to be able to give you the real correct information, the benefits of staying in school and completing school. But also, as we have mentioned, there are so many risks within societies there. So we also need to get information on how to choose non-risk lifestyles, avoiding the early unwanted pregnancies and marriages, or trying to stop in school and do not drop out. So we need all this information, how we can be how we can protect how we can protect ourselves. Again, as we have mentioned, the challenges that younger people face if they drop out of school or as they are transitioning from school to work is this issue of how are we going to fit in society? How are you going to get work? Again, we also need to seek information and guidance on how to find internships in workplaces, how to get jobs, or how to be able to to start small businesses if we cannot be able to get jobs that we want. All this information is very, very necessary, and we need to find information and see how we can how we can improve our lives. Again, we also need to get, as we mentioned earlier, on one of the biggest challenges are the negative attitudes in the society that we live in. For everything that we want to do, you will find beliefs, you will find myths associated with those choices. And therefore, we need to be able to get as much information as possible, make sure that we are not influenced by those negative attitudes and norms and risky behaviors within society. For example, we live in, you will find many people, especially the men, who will tell you that when a girl is young and good looking, they don't have They don't have HIV, and but it's not true at all. You know, even young, healthy-looking girls can still have Can still have HIV. So you don't have to believe that when people when people tell you that. And for young girls, you need to know that actually, when people in the society, especially the men, believe that, therefore they will always be targeting the younger girls within within society. Again, it's also not normal for a man to suffer from From sexually transmitted diseases. People will tell you that no. For men it is normal that they should suffer from STIs, but that's not correct at all. So you need to get information and understand that it is very important for you to avoid and make sure that you don't get sexually transmitted diseases. Again, having unprotected sex with multiple partners is not a sign of manhood, as people want to tell you in society, that a man should have as many girlfriends, as many women as possible. It's not correct at all. It instead exposes you to health and financial risks. It will also bring you diseases so it's not correct at all. And as young people, you need to understand that belief is not correct. And then there are people who will tell you that you don't have to stay at school. So and so got rich without going to school, but that is that that you can be that an educated person who is rich is even a better life. Okay, so seeking richness is not the end. You should also be able to seek education, so that eventually, when you are rich, you are able to You are able to live even a better life. And actually, education enhances your chances of even succeeding in life. So, dropping out of school because you think that even uneducated can be risking your life, because the chances of even becoming rich becomes even much unattainable. Again, people will tell you in society, or younger people will tell you that no, you can have as much sex as you want because getting pregnant is just bad luck. That's not again true, because the risk of engaging in other sex, and especially when it is unprotected, is real, and it can be avoided, for example, either by abstaining or being faithful, and if failure to do the other preventive measures by using a condom. So you should not just leave it to luck. and risk your life by thinking that, there's always a possibility that, that you'll be lucky and not get pregnant when you engage in what? In sexual activities. Again, it's also true that you can still get married and bear children after completing what? After completing school, okay? People should not tell you that, your time is running out, you should marry and what? And have children. No, it is possible that you can still get married and bear children after completing what? After completing school. Besides, you even stand better chances of what? Of leading a better life with your family if you complete school. So those are some of the negative attitudes that tend to influence our choices in life, and we need to learn to be able to deal with them, confront them, discard them by getting as much information as possible. Next. Again, as we know very well that getting information is not enough, and understanding the barriers that we have mentioned above is not enough. Okay, we still need to build we need to build our self-efficacy by believing that you can and have the capacity and skills to practice positive behaviors to help you realize your full potential. Okay, because many people know, for example, that having unprotected sex, for example, can expose you to HIV, or it can, dropping out of school can ruin your chances. But again, because of the society in which you live and the beliefs, sometimes people do not believe that they can be able to do what? They can be able to do it. So we really need to develop our strength and our resolution to believe that actually we can be able to what? We can be able to achieve, to contrary to what people are telling us. And therefore, we need to be able to motivate ourselves. We need to motivate ourselves by having a strong desire and have interest as well as commitment to pursue and achieve outcomes by practicing positive behavior. So the key words here that we need to strongly believe in ourselves, and also need to be motivated by the outcomes. The belief that avoiding HIV will make you live a longer life and see your family, or avoiding getting pregnant will enable you to finish your school, so that when you are finally able to marry and have children, they will be able to live a good life. All these things, we need to have them in our lives, and believe and be motivated that actually we can what? We can be able to achieve the things in what? To achieve the things in life. So one of the key things that I would end this presentation by saying that you, as a youth, you must say, yes, I can, and will avoid risky lifestyles, early unwanted pregnancy and marriage, complete school, and work hard to get a job and business to support me and my family. So briefly, that is what I wanted to share with you. Of course, as I mentioned earlier on, behavior is also influenced by other things. We need the support of the parents, we need the support of the community, we need the support of the government in terms of policies. But this morning, we chose to focus on the things that we can do as individuals, things we can do in our capacity, make sure that we make choices that will be enable us to achieve the thing we want in life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barikoa. I think if it were possible, all of us would be standing up right now, giving a standing ovation. I think that a lot of the things you have said ring true for many of us, because most of the people on this call are youth. And we all have the responsibility to make choices, at least in our youth, that will enable us have a bright future. And if we have a bright future, then we can make a lot of positive impact on the country going forward. So thank you very much for your wisdom. And I think at this juncture, would like to open it up. I think everybody should have the opportunity to speak, to ask questions, and let's have this be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, you can either put them in the chat or you can raise your hand and I will select you to ask the question. So I think we'll start with the question asked by Dr. Lillian in the chat. She's asking, what are the challenges faced by young people aged, I think she meant 15 to 25 years of age in relation to behavior change? So I think we'll start with that. And then if you have a question, you can just either raise your hand if you want to speak, even if it's a comment, even if it's feedback, and yeah, then we will see how to speak. But Dr. Lillian has clarified, actually, she meant, what are the challenges faced by young people aged 25 to 35 years in relation to behavior change? So I think we can start with this one for Mr. Balikoa.
Okay. Again, this age group, as we know very well, they would have completed maybe school. And for those who didn't go to school again, either they went to early marriages, they have children and whatever like that. So they tend to have the challenges of adulthood. Some of the challenges, for example, are how to start what? How to start a family, how to space their children and have a family that they can be able to afford, how to work for your family, how to raise children, for example. They are really trying to now transition into what? Transition into adulthood. And some of the challenges that I mentioned are those. They need to think about their reproductive health very, very seriously, for example, because this is one of the age group when people are likely to produce children. So from the point of public health, from the point of public health, they need to be able to make choices on the size of the families that they can be able to afford. They also need to understand how, for example, to raise children as parents, to make choices for the children by enrolling them in school very early and maintaining them in school. They need to think about how to, childcare is one of, again, the biggest challenges for people who are starting families. But again, the other challenge again is what? We mentioned the challenge of what? Of livelihoods. How do they balance all these challenges at they start in life to make sure that they are able to get the jobs that they want, they're able to start the business that they want, they're able to financially prepare themselves and be able to care for the what? To care for the young what? For their early lives and young families.
Thank you. Thanks for that response.
Yes, thank you for the response. We have a few more questions in the chat. On comments, we have Mr. Nzama Patrick. Youths of late believe in social media and have little or no time with their parents. How can such youths be helped? I think I'll just also maybe add the second one. Raleigh Sharon says, many times the environment people live sometimes makes people change behavior positively and negatively. I think this is a comment. So I think we'll just take Nzama Patrick's question.
I think it is true that the social media poses a very big challenge in the lives of the younger people, But we also have to accept that we cannot run away from the phenomenon of social media. It has come to stay, and there is a lot of debate among people. Some people think that, for example, young people should not be facilitated with gadgets that enable them to engage in social media. So there's a very big debate, for example, in schools. Some people even think children should not have phones, but there are those who strongly believe that all we need to do is to parent our children to be able to live in the era of what? In the era of social media, and they think that children should be parented around the phenomenon of how they can be able to live with what? To live with within what? With the social media. The truth of the matter is that whether we like it or not, social media is here to stay, and a good parent is the one who introduces the children to social media and parent them on how to be able to use that word, to be able to use that social media. But again, depending on the age group, the age of that child, as a parent, you need to come up with age appropriate advice and access to children. What are some of the areas, for example, you would not want your children? So if it's possible, sometimes people they can be able to control the gadgets in terms of what the children can be able to access or not. But again, as I've mentioned, social media again has its positive things. For example, children are able to social media to get right information that's going to help them. The younger people use social media a lot nowadays. So I think what we need to engage younger people is how to use the social media positively, instead of, for example, preoccupying themselves with the scandal, with pornography and things like that. So again, it comes back to us as what? As parents and the communities, and see how do we guide younger people to be able to use what? To be able to use social media, what? Social media positively. But again, as I've mentioned again, it's going to become inevitable in life. These gadgets are there. They are in life. They are very prevalent in our lives, and they are going to stay. And many younger people are already using them to get access to what? To get access to information, especially the vulnerable younger people in the community where they don't have access to information, where they have not had good education. They can use the social media to get some of their what? To get some of their questions answered. For example, someone can put a question into Google, for example, on a phone and ask any question, and some of that information will be given in real time, without them, for example, running around, going to a teacher, whatever like that. So again, I think the challenge is that as parents, as a society, we need to give as much guidance as we can to the younger people on how to use the what? Use the social media positively, without taking the hard choice of say, for example, banning them from social media, because there are many things that they are going to miss on, and we as parents or the community would not really have enough time to answer most of the questions that concern younger people. And then the other thing about that comment about the environment, yes, the environment is very, very, very important. Like, for example, when we talk about the social norms, if, say, for example, someone says that, a woman is not very important, or, it's okay to, it's okay to drop out of school. Now, that statement certainly is derived from the community in which people live. Norms are social norms. Those are beliefs that are shared in by the community. That's why when we are fighting social norms, we really need to look at the community as a whole. Even as we talk to the youth, as we've done today, it's also very important that we also focus on the parents, we focus on the community, and also educate them, give them the knowledge and also enable them to discard those negative articles. So it is true that focusing on an individual is not enough. We also need to create an enabling environment around that individual. But as I mentioned at the beginning, that in this presentation, we wanted to focus on the individual, the things that an individual can do in your capacity to facilitate change within your life.
So there's one more question as well, I think from Brian Miami. He's saying most 25-year-olds have a problem of living in denial. This is where they find it hard to embrace and come to terms with the fact that they're adults now and need to maybe drop some habits. How do you think such youth can be helped?
I think one of the biggest problems in this country is that young people are not getting age-appropriate counseling to help them navigate in life. When you go to the schools, for example, the schools are focusing only on academic issues. They are focusing on academic, they come and pick and go, but they do not, for example, have an besides focusing on the academic work. They're also offering career guidance. They're also offering behavioral guidance to enable these children or these younger people to consist in society. It is true that sometimes you find many people who are aged 25 who still behave as the 17-year-olds. You remember we are talking about the people who are 17 who are preoccupied with self-image. So you will see them, spreading their hair out, wearing all sorts of fancy styles and whatever like that. And people who do not get guidance in that group and are guided to transition into adulthood will face the problems. You will find 25-year-old people who still preoccupied with those challenges of attracting the opposite sex by engaging into walking practice and things like that. So it's really, really very true. That's why we are saying that behavior change needs to start as early as possible, especially when people are entering teenagehood. They need to be given all this age-appropriate information that we've gone through, for example, here, so that it can enable them to transit from one age group to the other without continuing to behave as if they are still very younger people.
Yes, and I think maybe we will wrap it up with Herbert, who has a hand up in the chat. Yes, Herbert, we look forward to your question and contribution.
All right. Thank you, the host. My name is Herbert Iraguha. I'm supplementing on the question of the challenges that 25 to 35 years youth get. Speaking as somebody who is still in that age bracket, I think most of the youth in that age bracket are of a generation whereby schools only taught us things of study, get very good marks, and get a very good job. So we all focused on the goal was to get a good job and get good pay. But if you look at our universities, most universities during graduation, they pass out thousands and thousands of graduates. And you find the jobs themselves are not enough to cover all those people, because we have about more than, I think, 15 universities, major universities that pass out thousands of students. Now, where the challenges that we get is we were not given these other, let me call them basic skill education. For example, things like how to repair a car, things like how to, farming, things like how to paint, And these are all basic skills that can give people, the youth mostly, like pay, like I want to call it fast pay. So you find that when the job is not there, because we weren't given these skills, you find we are stagnant. The most places we now keep on with the hope of, let me keep applying for a job, let me keep applying for a job. And yet on this other side, you can learn things like carpentry, you can do things like masonry work. These are skills that can be taught regardless of the qualification you got from university. So, and then you remember a few years back, we got the COVID, the COVID issue that got many of us losing jobs. And up to today, I think there are youth who are still looking for work, and yet if we had like a system that would train people on these other basic skills that we can learn in a short period of time and we start earning, you'd find a number of youth being helped. So I think government would maybe create a system that can start training kids. I know they've talked about it, but it's not yet implemented in schools, whereby right from a young age, we've seen these other countries, kids are taught how to do plumbing, how to do carpentry work, how to do masonry work, whereby even if you finish university and you're still looking for a job, you can earn from these other skills on the side. I think that's what I wanted to supplement on that topic of the challenges we get within that age group.
I think that's a very valid observation, and in that context, I think would encourage the younger people to be self-driven. You have the disadvantage of not having been exposed to important information to help you to decision in life, for example. But you as an individual, therefore, you need to be self-driven and identify the gaps in your life and be able to seek information. And that's why the power of social media comes in here, that you can use the social media, for example, to seek information that will help you to think of the many things, for example, that you can be able to engage in. For example, learning how to start small businesses, for example, and learning to even step out of your areas that you trained for. For example, if you can't find a job in a certain area that you trained for, you can be able to look around and have a self-initiative. I think that aspect is very important, to learn to be self-driven and not expect that someone is going to be able to pull you out. But again, as I mentioned, that this, unfortunately, if you are not exposed to this kind of counseling when you are a teenager, when you are in your 20s, it becomes very difficult when you're in 30 to be able to change. Nowadays, you find very younger people, for example, who are at the age of 18, 16, who have never even gone to computer class, but they are able even to repair computers. But again, as I mentioned, as you mentioned also, the last person who submitted, sometimes the younger people who are in the age group of 25 and 30, they are victims of the educational system that we have that doesn't prepare younger people to transition both in age and also to transition from school into the work environment. But not only actually from the point of livelihoods. I strongly that the people who are 25 to 30 still have challenges on how to manage, for example, relationships, because as I've mentioned, for example, that is the reproductive age, especially for many younger people, especially the lady. So even as they are still looking for the jobs and whatever like that, they still need information on how to manage relationships, on how they still need all that They still need all that information on choosing healthy lifestyles and not spend all their life in bars, because some of them tend to be kind of disappointed with life if they can't find the jobs that they want. So that tendency to start consuming alcohol and engage in reckless behavior. Again, they need all that counseling along advice on how, for example, they can be able to transition in their life by seeking, making choices that can improve their livelihood.
Thank you very much, Mr. Balikoa. I don't know if there are any more questions. This has been quite enlightening, and I'm happy that everybody is contributing and interacting. Does anybody else have anything to add before we close this? Okay, I don't see any more questions in the chat. So I would like to invite Mr. Brian Miami to give us a few closing remarks, and also to give a vote of thanks to Mr. Balikoa as we conclude this talk.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Brian, it actually seems Mr. Balikoa has gone off. Maybe just to give him a minute to come on again.
Okay.
Yeah, as we wait for Mr. Balikoa to come back in, I just wanted to say this has been really useful to hear about, different age groups and how behavior change affects them and some of the considerations we should be making. And it made me think about our mental health and psychosocial support activities and how we can incorporate behavior change in the work that we are doing in schools, providing mental health and psychosocial support. And then I was also thinking about the question related to social media, how social media can be a really powerful tool, despite the challenges as well, if it's used correctly. So these days people talk about YouTube University, where you can get you can learn anything on YouTube these days. You can learn how to be a plumber, you can learn guitar lessons, you can learn anything. So maybe just trying to harness that power of social media and encourage young people, but also think about how we can use social media in our work on a day-to-day basis as we work with young people.
Hello?
Yes, I was just filling the space.
Hello?
Thanks.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Balikoa.
Yeah.
Dr. Lillian was just filling in the space, but
No, actually, I had her speaking, but all I can say is that to this morning, let me say that social and behavior change is a very, 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 very broad areas, and it takes a lot of interventions from different spheres of society, from the family, from the parents, from the community, our districts, our institutional organizations, NGOs, and government to be able to influence behavior. So what we did today was only to focus on the individual. And I think the takeaway from this is that in this session, we've been able to map out and see the challenges that younger people face and some of the things that the youth themselves can be able to do to influence their their choices in life. But it's quite evident that we can now use this presentation to see then therefore how the parents, the families, the communities, how all these different actors can be, for example, be empowered to support the younger people to be able to make right choices and transition in society. But again, you realize that when you move outside the individual youth, for example, you also find that all these different actors, again, they also have challenges. For example, you will find that some of the parents themselves perpetuate some of these negative attitudes, for example, by looking at a girl child as a source of dowry, as who should get married early, or the men in the community who believe a woman is insignificant. Women are there, they think you can have sex with any girl whom you want. They don't understand this aspect of rape and all those things. Again, we require, again, a lot of interventions within these other spheres, social spheres that surround the youth, and see how we can engage all those actors to make sure that they support and create an enabling environment that will enable the younger people today to take the choices that we've mentioned without being pulled back by what? Without being pulled by the what? By the environment, yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for those powerful closing remarks, Mr. Balikoa. I think without further ado, I'd like to request Mr. Brian to give us a vote of thanks on behalf of everyone before we close this webinar.
Thank you, Kenneth. I want to thank everyone for making it to this session, and I think most of the people on this call are in that age bracket, and this session has really been enlightening and helpful, and I'm sure most of us are going to make sound decisions from now onwards. I also want to extend my appreciation to Mr. Balikoa for this session. I'm very, very grateful personally, and I'm sure everyone else feels the same way. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Brian. And thank you everybody for attending. People pay millions of shillings to get the knowledge that Mr. Balikoa has just given us, but we have been grateful to get it for free, and I thank him so much. And I think if there is nothing else by anyone, please feel free to leave at leisure, and we will end the call shortly. Thank you so much. Have a blessed weekend to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Balikoa.
Thank you, Dr. Lilian. And I must apologize, my internet is usually stable. I don't know what happened this morning.
Yeah, it always happens when you least expect.
That's true.